The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated. Welcome back to the Nova Society, a space where dialogue deepens understanding and civic responsibility comes to life. I'm Dr. Mark Bound, joined by our regular panel, Dr. Scott Gershwer and Dr. Brooklynn Ann Weldon. Together, we'll unpack the stories that matter most, exploring the headlines, the history, and the big ideas shaping today's conversations. Let's dive in and hear what the panel has for us today.
Today, we have a question and a comment from Tennison, who writes to us from Olympia, Washington. And Tennison writes, I listen to every episode, and sometimes I wonder why. Okay, some of the panel are back at it again. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Honestly, if Brooklyn didn't have Trump to worry over, a fresh QAnon conspiracy to dissect, or some imaginary apocalyptic disaster looming in our future, I'm not sure what she would talk about. Well, I could talk about Lewis Carroll and English literature. A framework.
Boy.
Oh, boy.
That'll get us some listeners.
Maybe. Probably not. I could talk about Alexander Pope. A framework for peace has been agreed to. Okay. Yes, there are glitches, pauses, and restarts, but show me one international agreement that hasn't had those. Okay, I'll see if I can think of one. Oil is moving through the Strait of Hormuz. Israel appears to be keeping things contained, and oil prices are down to about $107 a barrel. I checked today. Gas prices are down too, yet somehow the panel is still complaining. Oh my, we're complaining. It feels like nothing makes you all happy. Oh dear, we're not happy. Yes, we're drawing from the reserves, but that's hardly unprecedented. So why the panic over hypothetical outcomes with no evidence to back them up? Let me guess. I heard it somewhere, but I can't remember where. Uh-oh, that's mine. Come on, you guys. Can't you be happy that things seem to be moving forward? Well, okay. So, Tennison, you would like me to remember where I saw stuff. Okay, so let me direct you to
Wait, hold on a second, Brooke. You can get to that in a minute. But I just want to I just want to jump in and say that I am very happy. And I have not been this happy in like 54 years. So you could take back the floor. It didn't take that much. A simple Knicks championship is all that it took. And I'm happier than I have been in decades. All right. So you're wrong about that, Tennison. All right. And that's why you don't have a team up there in Seattle, all right? Because you guys don't appreciate a good basketball team and what it could do for your mood.
And I'm very happy because over the weekend, of course, we have a lot of foreigners here in the neighborhood, and we had a whole bunch of watch parties out at the Oasis next to the pool here in my backyard, and we had a bigger crowd than they had at the Freedom 250 State Fair down in Washington. And guess what? My pool is in green, so I'm extremely happy too.
And did you have any of the beautiful women of Cabo Verde there? Because man, they are setting the internet on fire.
Oh yes, they are. Oh yes, they are. Yep. Makes me want to go see the place.
Yeah, me too. Maybe even move there.
Why not?
Between there and Singapore, you have the most beautiful women in the world. It's just incredible.
All right, Brooke, go ahead.
Brooke, you can talk about your sources about the Strait of Hormuz and the oil and all that. By the way, but just before you start, did anybody here notice that gas prices are down? It doesn't seem like that to me. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I haven't noticed that either. I don't know about that.
Well, I will say this. Here in South Carolina, at one point in time, it was $4.29. Right now, we're down to $3.49.
For $3.49, I mean, it's not good, but it's not terrible, I guess.
And after Brooke gets done railing on Tennison, who would name their kid Tennison. But anyway, after Brooke gets done railing on that, we could really talk about the idea of why is it so low if a barrel of oil is still $107?
Actually, today, the a barrel of oil is down lower than that. It's down to today
it's like
as of
68.
8:30 this morning. Yeah. Well, oh really? Okay. So according to Fortune, as of 8:30 a.m. Eastern time today, oil sold for $72.36 per barrel using Brent. So the benchmark is Brent, not WTI.
Right. That's right. You're right.
And
You're right. 71. It's
yeah, according
71
to this.
and 72. Here's the. But we're not the ones who put out a Truth Social post and said, "Hey, the gas companies better start lowering their prices at the pump because the price of per barrel is down," and they're not doing that. That was Trump, not us.
Yeah.
And I looked this up, and I will say this: this email that was sent to me on Saturday morning at, I'm going to assume your time, Tennison, it was probably around about 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Why is it now down another $30 a barrel and it's only Monday? What has caused that? I mean, it's not like we're overproducing here.
No,
Chief.
we're not.
I mean,
we're not.
And I think that's the concern everybody has, this manufactured price of gasoline and the manufactured price of oil, where all the other things that, like how much we're actually producing, really tell the opposite. We should be looking at the opposite. But all right, Brooke, go ahead. We've beat on this enough. You get after him.
Well, it's okay. I very strongly recommend watching someone called Mario Nawfal. That's NAWFAL, or November Alpha Whiskey Foxtrot Alpha Lima, and an economist that he has on his program named Philip Pilkington. And what you have to watch is something called the crack spread. And that is where they crack a barrel of oil into this is crude now, into 2 barrels of refined and 1 barrel of diesel, and the price of oil is too low for what the Pilkington is an economist and he is an investor. The price is too low for what the how did he put it? He's got a scatter plot, and I strongly suggest that you watch the episode. I have to see if I can find it. We'll put it in the show notes. It was extremely interesting, and he has a scatter point, a point. I'm not good with the graph. I can't remember exactly what he called it, but he talked about the crack spread, and what the investors are paying for oil, and what people are paying at the pump. No, I'm sorry, what the refiners are paying for oil and what we're paying at the pump. And the fact, if anybody is talking about an oil glut, what they're talking about is oil that is not refined and cannot be used. So if they're talking about an oil glut, they are not talking about oil that is ready to use. And a lot of refineries have been shut down and wells have been shut down. So they are not talking about the same thing. And you have to be very, very careful about what people are actually talking about. And the strait may be open, but you're talking about normally you would have, we've lost 1 billion barrels from the market since this started. So that's billion. Normally, and you can look this up. Okay. Brent crude should be up around $150, $160 a barrel. It's not. Okay.
All right, you know what? Why don't we give you a couple of seconds to look up how many? Because I think what you were going to talk about, and you spoke to me about it before we started recording, was the number of ships that go through the Strait of
Yeah.
Hormuz, and that it's down, and that there's a bunch
Well,
of U-turns that tankers have made, and there seems to be a lot of chaos in the Strait of Hormuz, whether people are
there
willing to go
is.
through, whether they're paying a toll. There's a lot we don't know. It's very non-transparent, right?
Passing through the strait. Yeah, you can actually, if you look at Reuters has a tracker that will go through. It's a live vessel tracker. And it says it's Reuters, and it says live vessel tracker showing Strait of Hormuz. It says it's marine tracker, and it's live, and you can watch the vessels going through.
Cool.
Yep. And but you can also look at Al Jazeera English, and as of a day ago, Iran was tightening its grip on Hormuz as global shipping risks grow. Analyst says.
And I think that is like, if there's any sort of unhappiness with the situation as it is right now, with regard to the war and the effects of the war and the future and what is different now between what was true on February 25th, let's say, is this. According to, what's this fellow's name, Tennison? Everything is good, and there's a memorandum of understanding that he seems to think is some kind of peace deal. It's not, and that we're back to the way we were before,
and we're not.
But absolutely none of the objectives of this action on the part of the United States and the president have been accomplished. We've accomplished nothing but getting back to where we were before. But now, with the knowledge that Iran can close the Strait of Hormuz whenever they want to and make demands on the rest of the world, we have made Iran powerful. The reason, one of the reasons why the situation isn't as bad as it is because China was prepared for this, and they had enormous reserves, and also have been shifting their economy to a green economy. So they have more electric vehicles on the road than ever before, and are creating electric vehicles to be sold all over the world, everywhere pretty much but the United States. And we have completely ceded what used to be a huge American business, automobile manufacturing, to China, because the future is not gas. The future is electric. And there is you cannot say in any, like, with any degree of credibility, that this is a strong position for the United States to be in. It is not. We're not. I'm sorry, sir, but we are not in a strong position. We have given up our what in any other generation would have been an opportunity to make something great and to create a brand new industry that employs lots of people and makes us the leader and the envy of the world all over again. And we have completely backtracked on that simply because oil companies paid Donald Trump to do it. Simply because coal companies have paid Donald Trump to do it. There is no doubt that we are in a worse position now, and we have accomplished nothing. Iran has still not given up their nuclear ambitions, if they ever had any. That has not changed. Okay, we have not had regime change. The son of the former Ayatollah is supposedly in charge, but the IRGC is very much in charge of the country. The rebels and dissidents that were there before are either not dissidents anymore because they've rallied around their dead leader, as we saw in the funeral footage of the funeral this weekend, where tens of thousands of people are going to Tehran to pay their respects to their fallen leader, a person who was absolutely hated before he was murdered in cold blood by Trump. And that's another part of it, that I would say that we used to be an honorable country, that if you hit us, we would hit you back harder than you've ever been hit before, but we weren't going to throw the first punch. Well, we didn't just throw a punch. We basically said, why don't you guys get together and talk about it, and we'll talk about it, over the weekend, and we'll get back together with you on Monday, and then bomb them when they got together on Saturday night. This is like, there's a lot to hate about what's going on in the world right now. We've committed war crimes that we're covering up. We're actively covering up the destruction of a school that killed 175 young girls. There's nothing good happening. So what are you happy about as far as that's concerned? And what objectives have you seen us accomplish other than getting back to where we were on February 25th? With the Strait of Hormuz now open, but subject to closure, worse than it was.
Well, and we're not going to get back to that point, because you can't just turn an oil well back on or a refinery back on like flipping a switch. And we don't have the refinery capacity to refine stuff.
Yeah.
We don't.
But Mark,
and we don't have the green energy either.
Right. For what purpose? What did we do this all for?
Nothing. I mean, I cannot understand why we're there. I mean, the case was never made for why we were there. And Politico has an article that was recent. I mean, you can look at any of these articles. We're nearing what's called tank bottom. And these are industry executives have talked to the White House, and that in important areas in the U.S., and the White House is saying, oh, no, we have no problems at all. And the Exxon and Chevron, these are senior vice presidents and so on, that Brent crude will hit $150, $160 a barrel once we hit what's called tank bottom, which will be at probably the end of June. It may be 2 weeks, it may be 3 weeks. They're not sure. These are the industry oil executives. And they've already told the administration that, but the White House says, oh, no, that's not going to happen. And everything is fine. And we don't have a supply problem. Everything is great. So you can believe Trump, who said that he would have prices down and that the economy would be wonderful and that we'd have so much daycare and so much money we wouldn't know what to do with it, and we'd be tired of winning, and there wouldn't be any more foreign wars. Or you can believe the oil executives and the other people who are telling you that we are drawing down our storage of oil, and we're drawing down our storage of diesel, and there are many fewer tanks coming through because the strait is not open consistently the way it has been until Trump decided to bomb Iran and took what was an international waterway and turned it into a private waterway that is now controlled by a country who is now our affirmed enemy, and put a country that runs heavily on oil and gas and is not prepared to change to green energies. And by the way, we depend on urea and other products from cracked petroleum for agriculture and our food, and our farmers depend on diesel to run their tractors, and our food supply depends on diesel because that's what trucks use to deliver food. So you don't have to listen to us. I suggest you listen to oil executives, and I suggest you listen to people who are in the Middle East and understand oil and gas and understand how refineries work, and watch the ships going through the strait, and listen to people like this Mario Knopfel, who is over in the Middle East and who talks to former ambassadors and former diplomats and economists and oil people, and they understand what they're talking about. And listen to them. You don't have to listen to me. You can listen to Mark and Scott. You don't have to bother listening to me. If my saying that I don't remember where I got a certain source from troubles you, I will do my best to name every single source that I use, and I will certainly make an effort to take notes. So here today I have used Politico, oil industry warns Trump administration of price spikes within 2 weeks. I have used vessel tracker showing Strait of Hormuz. I have used Reuters, fleet of 10 Japan-related ships exit Hormuz, data shows, and United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve crude oil stocks. And oil reserve is down 340.3 million barrels, the lowest it has ever been. And an article from Fortune showing gas tanker Strait of Hormuz transit Oman side route that you are welcome to look up yourself. And gas tankers cross Hormuz via Oman side route after U-turns. You can look all these up.
Mark, it sounds to me like Brooke does have some real good grounding for what she talks about. I just make this stuff up. I don't know about you.
I just guess,
Yeah.
I'm just taking guesses half the time. I guess, Tennison, my comment to all this is that when we have these discussions here, rather open, and they're a little bit on the raw side. This is not PBS. This is not, the professional. Somebody's being paid $10,000 an episode to be showing up there, so that doesn't happen. If you want to hear a lot of bullshit that's basically coming out of somebody's ass, listen to CNN when they have that right-wing wingnut on there all the time. He goes in the face of actual facts. What's his name, Scott?
Talking about Scott Jennings?
Scott Jennings, yeah. I mean, listen to him. I mean, if that's what you want. The facts are that our oil reserves are down. What does that mean? Now, you can project that out any way you want. I am probably a realist. When I start seeing something that is concerning, is it concerning to me that our oil reserves are down to the level they're at? Absolutely it is. What does that mean exactly? I don't know, because I have not seen any of the indicators that condition would in fact create. You would think if our oil reserves are down, our gas prices are going to go way to hell up, because you'd think people want you to conserve. You would think. You don't see that. So right now, Brooklyn has her thoughts on what this might mean. Scott has his thoughts on what this might mean. I sit back and I say, wow, logic isn't working here. Now, I don't go to conspiracy or anything like that, but I am willing to sit back and say something's not right with this picture. We talked about it the other day about, why are prices on gas going down? And as I mentioned, they've gone down about 80 cents a gallon here in South Carolina, at least where I am. I mean, some places probably not so much. Go down by the coast. I have no idea what they are, but the fact is that they're still about 80 cents higher than they were before this Iran war. But if all the conditions are correct and all the reporting is correct, if we are at the point where oil reserves are down and people are actually talking about rationing, why is gas not $7 a gallon? To be able to stop those people that Scott notices out on the bay in their boats. Why is this not happening? Because that's what a truly responsible administration would create. I mean, I hate to say it, but that was one thing if anybody remembers, and we three are probably all of the age, in New York in the 70s, whatever your license plate ended on, even or odd, depended on when you could get gas.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because they were rationing. They were rationing it out. If this is that dire, and I don't discount what the reports say, I don't say that they're wrong. I don't say that they're fake news. I don't say any of that. What I say is, if they're so dire, why in the hell are we not doing something?
According to one thing I did read that I just closed, OPEC has agreed to release some like 188,000 barrels. But what I also don't see is that we're not replenishing our SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. No one is saying anything about replenishing.
Right.
And that would put the prices up also.
And I think that that's a really good point, because as I just read that oil is today, a barrel of oil costs $72. When oil gets down to $70 a barrel or thereabouts, or 68, which is the West Texas, that's when you start replenishing the oil supply. But there's been no talk about doing that. We're not replenishing. We're not buying. We're still pumping it out there and putting it out there.
Yeah, and we're still using our Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and you can't take from that without collapsing the walls of the salt mine. And I still don't understand why we are using a salt mine.
Right, but we talked about that last time. But I just, what I would say to anybody out there who's listening was that, Biden sold high, bought low. Trump is buying high and selling low. That's how you bankrupt casinos.
Yeah.
That's not that. There's nothing smart about that. And no. He's stealing oil from other countries, as we know, which may be propping up domestic oil here, because if you steal oil from people and you don't have to pay for it, then it's all just swag. I don't know who's getting that money, but I know it's not us. It's not the people of the United States.
He was using Venezuelan oil before the earthquake, at least. I do know that. Sorry, I know I interrupted you. The Philip Pilkington on this Mario Naufel, and I also recommend Breaking Points. They speak to Professor Pape a lot, and about the escalation trap. But this Philip Pilkington on Mario Naufel was showing with his scatter plot, and saying this one dot is way out here, away from everything else, and it should not be way out here for the price, and something is really wrong, and his theory is controversial, that the refinery price is much higher, and the there's two explanations for that, and I'm sorry, I don't remember what they are. I suggest everyone who's interested watch that episode, and I'll find it so we can put it in the show notes. I found it very, very interesting because I can't understand what is going on either. And he wasn't sure. I've seen more than one explanation. It depends on who you listen to. But I find it fascinating. Something's really going wrong here. And I've heard only one set of individuals talking about diesel.
Yeah. To be fair, it's hard to get it right. I mean, it goes too low, it's bad. It goes too high, it's bad. There really seems to be like a very small sweet spot, kind of like hitting a baseball. It is not. It is. Some people are saying that it's going to be down to $60 a barrel, and then that's too low because then what's the point of pumping it if it's that little? And then they're going to start cutting supply rather than raising it, and that'll keep gas. Just the oil part of this. But again, I want to set that aside for just a second because I want to talk about the war. Why are we at war? We were at war because we wanted to, depending on who you believe in when they said it, change this regime, which I am all for, right? When Israel said that they had a shot at Khamenei, I said, take it. And Trump said, no, don't take it. That happened. When, just changing this regime would have been a great thing for the people of Iran. Mark and I talked to a dissident from Iran. We should talk to her again. And we listened to what she had to say. She didn't want U.S. interference. She wanted us away from there. That I remember about that conversation.
Absolutely.
Because I said, how could we help you? And she said, you could help us best by staying out of it. And then the other part of this, of course, is, there was supposed to be some nuclear, whatever you want to call it, dust is what Trump calls it ridiculously. That hasn't changed. They have ballistic missiles. That hasn't changed. They have the ability to project power more than ever before. So that has changed, but for the worse. This doesn't make any sense. Like we just kind of ran into this thing without thinking about it, and we're paying the price for it. And I don't understand how anybody could be happy about it. Can we turn
And Trump
this around?
lifted the sanctions, and we're going to give them their frozen money back, much
Right,
more
and
than Obama gave them.
Yeah. That's another part of it, right?
I mean,
like none of this works out.
Worse. Yeah, our bases are gone.
We've bounced back from things before, right? I mean, we're all old enough here to remember the fall of Saigon, the helicopters being dumped into the sea and all that. Terrible moment for the United States. Really, really hurt the prestige and the self-confidence of the country. But 15 years later, we won the Cold War. All good. We have the ability to come from a bad situation and make it good. But those are policy decisions by people who are thoughtful and smart and strategic. None of that is going on right now. There is no strategy. There is whim, nothing but. It is completely like just based on this one guy's gut feeling that everything will be fine. He could do to Iran what he did to Venezuela, and that'll be our big win. And he's saying it about other people as well. I just don't see there's any, we don't have any kind of foreign policy anymore. We're so transactional. And to all the Trumpers out there, I will say this. He is so transactional that it wouldn't shock me that if the Democrats end up winning the House and the Senate, that he flip-flops completely and becomes the most liberal president in the history of the United States. And boy, isn't that going to put everybody in a weird position, because those of us on the left are going to have to say, well, we really like these policies he's putting out there, scum that he is, but we really like these policies. And the people on the right are going to say, well, Trump used to be against this, but now he's for it. And I don't really understand why he's taking these positions. I'll tell you why. Because he doesn't have any ideology. He doesn't have anything backing himself that, grounding himself in any kind of like theories or ideas or beliefs or values or nothing. He's completely void of all of that. It's simply what he can get away with at the moment. And then he'll deal with the next 5 minutes when it comes here. And that is no way to run a country, my friends.
No, it's not. It's also no way to run a railroad. So just to let you know, Tennison, here's my thing with your entire thing. And I wanted to put this out there because, again, sometimes we get the, I don't put out the opposition. And I decided to put this one out there. The fact is that your entire post, your entire, email basically reinforced my theory that American people are no different than Trump. Those that are of the Trump vein, they don't see anywhere past 5 minutes past their nose. And you're talking about 5 minutes past your nose. You're talking about your gas prices, but you don't ask why. You're not curious about anything. You just don't hear what you want to hear. It's not in your echo chamber. And, well, you get upset about that. But you don't ask the real questions that should be asked. Why are my gas prices low? Why? Why are we in Iran? What is it that we wanted to accomplish? What have we accomplished? You don't ask any of these questions because you basically just do your Fox News thing, I would assume, or OAN or Newsmax or wherever you get your information from. And here's the other thing with people that get their information from there. It's pretty much all the same. OAN, I have to admit, is a little bit more, and Newsmax are a little bit more off the rails than, say, Fox is, although Fox is totally off the rails. But it's basically the same information. So you don't have to cite your sources because they're all basically saying the same damn fool thing. You've got to start looking beyond 5 minutes from now, beyond the impact it has on you. You can look at the impact it has on you and say, hey, gas prices are low. But then ask the next question, Tennison. Ask the next question. Why? How come? But you won't do that. So in many ways, and I appreciate the fact that you listen. I'm sure I can tell you right now, we get a lot of opposition listeners that listen to us. But I've seen a very interesting trend. And the trend is you don't ask the next question. The first question is fine. The first statement is fine, but you don't ask the question that should follow it. And that is disturbing to me. And I think that's something that makes me extremely nervous when it comes to the future of our country, because as Scott said, we have ceded over so much possibility, so much opportunity to China. I got news for you. China has out-capitalismed us. They beat us at our own game. And there's a lot of questions that you present here about what's going on in the world, but you don't ask the really hard question, or the question that may require you to get outside of your echo chamber and actually do something called research. I don't know what you do for a living, but maybe a little research wouldn't hurt. The fact is that, there's a lot going on in the world. It's more complex than just what you're paying at the pump. And please start understanding that. That's about all I'll say to that.
And Tennison, it's Dr. Weldon. I did earn it.
And that's all the time we have for today's episode. The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We want to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing team, Apple Podcasts, the largest source of podcast and music online, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your destination for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. And most importantly, we want to thank you, our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society could not be possible. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing on the platform of your choice. It's easy, it's free, and helps our channel grow. For questions or comments, you can reach us at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So on behalf of Dr. Brooklynn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershworth, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power of society is knowledge. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again next time. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, the Phoenix Research Group, an independent research consortium dedicated to providing solutions to social and political issues for NGOs and international government agencies. Through multidisciplinary, nonpartisan, and unbiased research, the Phoenix Research Group advances understanding and practical strategies for complex challenges. The Phoenix Research Group is a division of the Phoenix Research Institute, the producer of the Nova Society podcast.